Hello everyone and welcome to another traditional draft of Brothers War. And well, this time the rare isn't as good as some other cards in the pack. The Fauna Shaman is something you would usually play in your green decks. The tutoring can be valuable at some point, and 2-mana 2/2 base stats are just about good enough to make it worth including with some extra ability such as this card has. Now, it's not the first pick. I think the Mask of the Jade Crafter would even be a better green card to first pick out of this pack. Definitely this is the better one than the Fauna Shaman. This is a really good one, but of course does lock you in two colors. You don't really splash this kind of a card. It's very so good on turn 2 and not so great on turn, let's say 7. So the Excavation Explosion is the most flexible pick. Well, maybe this mask is somewhat flexible too, but you do want to have access to green to make this a good card. This is easily splashable, though. I'm gonna take it. I think Excavation Explosion might be one of my most picked commons. It seems like that it's been so often also passed to me that I don't recall. I mean, maybe I get some stats at some point, but it feels like I have picked so many copies of Excavation Explosion, but the card is of course very good, so I'm happy about picking them. Now someone took a rare out of this pack, and I wouldn't mind taking the Engineers, but I think it's just better to be, kind of stay flexible and take the Explosion. This does lock you, well, not lock, but this requires for you to run both red and green to make it a really decent card, so I just take this and keep my options open for any kind of a deck that has, well, at least can splash red. It doesn't even have to be a main color red. Okay, so I could stay on course and take a red card in form of Pendragon Strongbull, but I think the Remorse is just better to pick at this point in the draft. And removal tribal isn't a bad archetype. This is the kind of a set where one-for-one removal is totally, good stuff to run, and it's not like a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty where so many cards made you gain so much value that if opponent just one-for-one removes your things, it's not going to be that good for them. This is not the kind of set. And this set also has a lot of palm rare creatures, so creature removal is important to deal with them, and I'm just taking the Remorse here. The Legions to Ashes would be good too, but it's 2 colors, so I'm not even sure if I would have picked that over the Strongbull. It's possible I would have picked the Strongbull over that. Okay, still decent options here. So the Emergency World is a card you usually want to play in your black decks. Gix's Caress is good, Strongbull of course good, and the Hero of the Dunes, which is, I believe, the card with the most potential in this pack, but I don't think I need to take it. I'd rather stick to red and black here. There's also the Elsewhere Flask, which is good in decks like this, where you also have the Strongbull. I would take the Weld over the Caress. Now the question is, am I gonna take the Weld over the Strongbull? Well, I don't have any creatures to return yet. I guess I'll take the Strongbull because you don't really get these things very late usually, so you have to pick them early if you wanna actually get to use them. And okay, this figure, reconstructed Thopter, could be either of those. I'm gonna take the cheap removal spell. Now I have a 4 removal spell in my first 5 picks, but it's not a bad place to be in. Okay, Gixian Infiltrator, there's another Strongbull, there's a Transmogrant Altar and an Evolving Wilds. All these are good in the Sacrifice archetype. I would actually want to take all of them. I have to make a decision now. I don't have yet that many artifacts. Now 2 explosions do mean 2 Power Stone tokens, but I don't necessarily want to go like too deep. I mean, Evolving Wilds is good because it does, activate stuff like, or trigger stuff like a Gixian Infiltrator. The altar can be really nice, but it's better with stuff like, Unearth. I don't know. Maybe just I'm taking the Strongbull here. I'm taking it, and now I'm gonna really force. Well, not force, but focus on taking a lot of artifacts. Okay, there's a Mask of the Jadecrafter, and this is pick 7. This is not the one I opened. It would be in pick 9 if it gets passed still. It's not for me though. I'm gonna take the infantry because it does die into an artifact creature that is good to have when you have strong bulls around. So this is a lot of 3-drops, yep, but that's usually what happens with black red. I will try to focus on 2-drops and 4-drops. Well, I don't have to focus on 4-drops, but I will have to focus a little bit on 2-drops. But I think I'm still just taking the red card here, and here easy chromatic star. I wouldn't mind necessarily the Gigamole, but this is the second trigger. I mean, this has two abilities, so you can just sacrifice it to a strong bull and still draw the card. That's pretty sweet. So it's an easy pick here. There's no question about it. Okay, at least now someone took the mask of the Jadecrafter. So I'm pretty likely. Well, I have only 2 black cards, and they are even splashable, so I have the opportunity to not maybe be black here. On the other hand, I can just play a supply drop, which is also something you don't mind jacking to a strong bull. Spotter Thopter, the green 2-drop. Well, I guess I can still keep the option open to be green-red. It's not impossible, especially if the uncommon would be passed to me. But I think it was in this pack. Yep, I took the second excavation explosion over the red-green uncommon, but it's not here now. So what to do? I think I'm going to take the Forge Center. I don't really like the unit, even though it does, give me 2 artifacts for the strong bulls. But I think I need a 2-drop, and I don't mind having the Forge Center around. Here I can take the wings. It's actually quite nice to have in these kind of decks. And now I do hope. Well, actually, I haven't seen a lot of black here, so I'm not sure yet if it's gonna be black-red deck. I don't expect the Gixian Infiltrator to come back, even though I really would want to have it. I need some 2-drops, and I have already some sacrifice synergies. But it seems black isn't open at all, so we'll see. Okay, I get the flask here, which is really good with the strong bulls, so I'm happy to have that here. And I have a Sibling Rivalry, which I can use with the strong bulls, especially against some artifacts. I'm gonna take it over, 20 gems here basically. And the Onslaught is something I could in theory play. Alright, so not a lot of black being passed to me. This pack has indeed a Veldon here, which is a fine card to run 2/2 haste. Can't block is a serious setback, but this has also a nice ability. Kind of you always get some value out of this thing. Even if the opponent has a blocker on a 2/2, you get to usually get a card at least back when this dies. But this is not the pick here because there's also a Mistras research desk, which is the easy pick here. Given what I have here, it is such a strong card. There's no really question about it. And then I get an over the top. Well, I also see an obliterating bolt. I also see a cliff stomper. Now I could easily be, mono red, maybe splash some black like the remorse and the disfigure, I suppose. But here the pick is obviously the bolt. But pick number 10, if there's a cliff stomper there. Yeah, well, I mean, I can't really force mono red before I see this coming back or not, but it's something to keep in mind. Pick number 10 could give me this gift if I manage to stay mostly mono red. Anyway, the pick is very easy because this is one of the best removal spells in the format. Okay then. Oh, what a pack. What a pack. Well, it comes down to 2 choices. I mean, I'm just saying that the Blast Runner and the Infiltrator would be decent options because I could still be red-black, and the Blast Runner seems to be quite useful in this deck. I have many sacrifice effects here, but the actual question is, am I going to pick the Siege Veteran or just stay on course and take the Cindermore? This is a pretty big tell that white is open to this direction. There's not even a retro artifact, a mythic. No one took a Wormcoil engine here. That's what I'm saying. The retro artifact isn't missing. So Syndemore, really good 3-drop, but Siege Veteran just a ridiculous card. I'm gonna take the ridiculous card here. So let's go with that. And I get another Syndemore, which I'm gonna take now. I have a lot of 3-drops, but what can I do? This is the pick here. The Exemplar would not be bad if I'm mono red, but I don't. I'm gonna at least splash the Siege Veteran. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure about splashing the black. It's still possible to splash both of them. And not care about the Cliff Stomper that might come back to me at pick number 10. Here I will of course just take the Syndemore. And then there's a good Iconoclast here. Now there's a very good pick for me. There's a Eco Wellspring. I'm happy to have it with double Strong Bull. So I'm just taking that, but yeah, red blue also would be an interesting option now. Although I'm probably not gonna move to blue if I get a pack 2 pick 5 Iconoclast as my first blue spell in the entire draft. That would be quite unlikely, but now I don't even have to worry about it because I do have the Wellspring, which I'm gonna have regardless. Okay, so black is open to this direction. Okay, and white isn't that open. I don't really want to. I mean, it's gonna be a splash on the Siege Veteran, nothing else. Ashnod is quite good, but so is the Infiltrator with my deck. But this thing can just, start creating those 3/3s late in the game. I guess I'm gonna take the Ashnod, but you could take the Infiltrator here too. And well, we'll see what happens. Okay, Evolving Wilds. I think if I want to, play this Siege Veteran, and if I'm not playing it, that means I missed out on a giant Syndemore, which I don't want to miss out on. I'm going to take the Evolving Wilds. It's kind of sad to pass the Blast Runner and the Thraxer Demon, which would both be good early drops in the deck. Maybe even the Clay Revenant could be useful in this kind of deck, because it's Sacrifice Border that keeps coming back, but I have to take the Evolving Wilds now, because I took the Siege Veteran here. Okay, am I going to play a random 2-mana 3/1 because I think I need it. I won't play the 3-drop. I have only 7 creatures, so the Ravenous and Gigamole won't be doing much. I need actual spells now, so let's take the 3 power 2-drop here. And how about this pack? Nothing is that good, but I mean, there are actually 2 choices. I could still take the Pyrrhic Blast or just the Mind Worker as a 2-drop, which I'm not happy about, but it's... Yeah, I guess this deck, yeah, I like the Pyrrhic Blast more in green decks, which has more high power creatures. I'm going to just take the Worker here. Yeah, so I got the Cliff Stomper here, but it's very hard to justify running it. I guess I can still pick it. Maybe I get more Cliff Stompers in pack 3, and I might actually choose to go mostly mono red, ignore the splashes, but I don't need another Onslaught, and this is just not so great in this deck that has so few creatures. I'm taking the Cliff Stomper now, and we'll see how useful that will be. Okay, I like the Kicks and Infiltrator maybe like slightly more than the Blast Runner. This gets a permanent pump when I sacrifice something. Yeah, that is probably a pick, and I will be, black and red. I probably splash the Siege Veteran. I do have the Flask and the Evolving Wilds and the Chromatic Star, which each make white mana for this, and I can still find other ways to get the white mana. Ideally just another Evolving Wilds or maybe a Battlefield Forge. Alright, I don't think anything here is important. The 4-drop is just, it's good, but maybe if your non-creature count is 12, it's not great, so I'm just taking the Forge Chanter. Do I need an Unleash Shell, or is it the Moment of Defiance going to be better? I have a lot of removal, but yeah, I guess I like the cheaper card a little bit more. And here is just something, whatever. Final card from pack 2 is a Blast Runner, which I am gonna play. That's pretty good. Wow. Well, now there's no question. I guess I have to take the Wormcoil Engine because I don't have any of these mythic rares and I need to complete the set, right? If I had a full playset of these, I might take it regardless. Well, obviously, this is the first pick of the set. If you get to choose which card you would open in this limited format, it would always be the Wormcoil Engine. It's a sick bomb. I'm passing an excavation explosion, overwhelming remorse, which would be fantastic picks as well. But I mean, this is just the nuts. All right, evolving wilds. That's gonna be the pick because that's gonna give me. This is first of all, this is not a particularly strong pack. There are some playables, but evolving wilds actually allows me to splash the single siege veteran, and I'm happy, splashing that card. Now I do have a bunch of cards already to make, but I think that there are some easy cards, but I'm not going to figure them out yet. I will figure them out in a very shortly after this is wow. After the draft is over. So I just get, like I said, I'm getting past all these excavation explosions so often. I wouldn't mind the energy refractor or soul guide lantern would be good too, but I'm just taking the explosion. It's also an artifact for my strong bulls. Okay, still an interesting pack, but I think the pick is fairly easy scrapwork mod that is just better than my other two drops, so I'm gonna maybe replace some of them. But still, I wouldn't mind. I'm not actually sure if this is a Transmogrant Altar deck. I don't have enough Unearth to make it really interesting. But there's like a Disfigure, Whirling Strike, totally reasonable cards, and the Energy Refractor would be fine to play too, but Mutt is the best card for me. Pretty easily, I would say. Okay. Powerstone Fracture, Forge Chanter. No, well, I don't need a Forge Chanter number 3. The Mithras Juggernaut is not bad, but I just don't know if I need it. I have so much of sacrifice for I have this Chromatic Star, Wellspring, Flask, and Powerstone tokens that the Powerstone Fracture will be just a very efficient removal spell. It's kind of crazy how this draft just keeps giving me all these good cards, and I don't know what to actually cut in the end. Sure, let's take another Fracture. I have so much removal, but hey, like I said, removal tribal, it's not the worst place to be in. Well, I'm going to take the Strong Bull. I don't really need to raise to the ground. I have removal if I need removal. I mean, maybe if I need to deal with non-creature artifacts, but those are very few. I'll take the Strong Bull, but I don't know what to cut. There's so much to cut. Okay, I like the Warblow here, 2-drop, 6-drop combination and an artifact. And well, the Rock Hunter isn't actually that great, so that's a decent pick up from this pack. And alright then. Well, I wouldn't mind a Blaster or the Dragon Engine, but I'm gonna take the 4th Explosion. If no one else is taking them, I am taking them. What the heck? I could still play the mono red with the Cliff Stomper here. It's not going to the deck now, but I could basically not play some of the black. Well, I have to figure it out. There's an actual possibility that I shouldn't play the black maybe as anything else than a very mild splash of the... I could splash the Powerstone Fractures and the Overwhelming Remorse, and that's it. Well, we'll see. Rock Hunter, Whirling Strike. I don't need any tricks. I have removal enough to clear the way. I don't think... Well, maybe Gix's Karus is like a... If your opponent has like Crazy Bomb, I might want to sideboard this in, but these other options won't be main deckable either, so... And this is totally a main deckable card, but the reason I put it to the sideboard is because I have so many cuts to make. I won't have room for the Gix's Karus here. Okay, and I got one of these refractors. This is maybe a deck that could even use the Slackstone Refinery, but I'm gonna take the refractor here. I can maybe even consider running a very low land count because of all these cantrips, but we'll see. Whirling Strike, the only on-color card. Well, I guess I'm splashing for white, but I'm not going to splash for those things. And Forge Chanter number 1,000,000. I guess it was only 3rd, but I have had a lot of opportunities to pick those. Okay, and there's a 4th one. Okay, well, there is the deck, and as you can see, this is 37 cards without the lands. Well, I can already decide that none of the stuff here, except for the 2 Evolving Wilds, will be put to the deck, so I'm going to start cutting. I mean, even the Sibling Rivalry would be good here, because I do have 2 Powerstone Fractures, 3 Strong Bulls, But of course the Strongbulls require me to steal specifically an artifact. And you can actually also get non-creature artifacts with this thing. It's just usually they are not the ones you want to steal and sack. But since I have so much removal in the deck, I don't think I need this kind of an effect, as good as it is with effects that sacrifice things. I'm gonna cut it from the main deck. I'm gonna cut the Mistral's Onslaught from the main deck. And then I'm going to cut the Moment of Defiance. I don't know if I need the Conscripted Infantry. I have other artifacts to sacrifice. But I do have 3 Strongbulls. I think it's still, maybe, given my 3 drops here, not that necessary. Necessarily? I mean, well, let's first check some easier cuts. Easier cuts in the deck. Mineworker. I'm not even, well, the Clip Stomper goes away. I'm not sure if I want to play the wings in this deck. It might be unnecessary given all the removal I have here. It seems a little bit redundant when I just can clear away for my creatures to attack through. So I'm gonna cut at least it from the main deck. And here I don't need all the Forged Chanters. I take at least 2 of them away. And that is still 29 out of 40. Now this, I think, is a deck that could, work with only 15 lands. Because, well, first of all, the Warblow is 2-drop, but it also is a 6-drop artifact. Just like the Wormcoil Engine is. So I can count all of these Excavation Explosions to be mana sources towards these 6 mana plays. The removals can get cheaper when I have, guys in my graveyard. So I could actually play a 15 land deck here. With 2 Evolving Wilds I don't need, and of course the Chromatic Star, the Refractor, the Flask, I need only 1 plains in the deck. And I don't need that many, swamps either. I do want to play some stuff like Gixen Infiltrator and Ash not early in the game and the Disfigure. But I just don't think it's, because I have all these cantrips, I have the research desk that digs me to lands. As long as I have 1 swamp, I'm happy. I might have a turn when I want to play a Powerstone Fracture and a Disfigure, which won't be happening with only 1 swamp, but I don't think it's usually a big deal. I can use the Energy Refractor to cast both the Disfigure for, this is still a 2 mana spell only, and this is a 3 mana spell with the Refractor. So I don't have to play that many swamps, and I don't have any double red spells either, so I think I won't be able to play my 1-drop creatures on turn 1 that often if I play a 15 land deck which still has 1 plains. Of course there will be 2 Evolving Wilds which help with all the colors, but the baseline, the idea is that the more removal you have, and I have an amazing amount of removal, the less lands you can run, because when you have a lot of 1-for-1 cards, you will be, the games will be long. You will be drawing a lot of cards, and then of course your land number 8 and 9 won't be that important. And look at the mana curve of this deck. I can function with 2 mana, and I have a lot of cantrips that get me the 3rd land at in an early enough stage in the game that I don't have to worry about it. So this is going to be a 15 land deck once again. Now what are the cuts, because that still means 4 cuts. I think I like the Infiltrator because it will have many ways to get counters. It's just 2 Evolving Wilds already, and of course the other ways to sacrifice things, Chromatic Star and the Research Desk sacrifice themselves. I think I still want to play the Blast Runner. It's gonna be quite often possible to make it into a 3-2. Alright, so the Warblow, like a 2-drop. Let's count the number of 2-drops here and 1-drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I included, also removal spells I can play early in the game. I can cut more of these Forged Chanters. I'm not sure though if I want to play like 1 Rock Hunter and 1 Forged Chanter. Yeah. I would actually really want to have an Emergency World in this deck. Returning stuff like Wormcoil Engine and of course the Siege Veteran would be quite nice, but I had one option to pick it in the draft, I believe, and then I picked something else over it. It was very close, I recall. I think it was a Strongbull I took over it, the first one of those. Alright, so I'm nowhere near done. So I think the conscripted infantry, it's going to be my next cut. Oh boy. Is the blast runner actually the cut? I mean, I will cut 2 cards. There's no way out of it. The Woblo I like because it's also a 6-drop. So it has that dual functionality of being both the early and the late game drop. And the 5/4 Death Toucher, when you use your removal to clear away most of your opponent's stuff, is going to be a quick way to complete or finish the opponent also. Yeah. I mean, it feels like the Blast Runner might still be... Yeah, I like this because once I have... Because I will have still some number of creatures in my graveyard. And I can just exile them and get 3/3s once I reach 5 mana. And I can use Power Stone mana to use the ability as well, so I'm gonna play the Ashnot for sure. It also trades with anything that doesn't have a first or double strike. Right. So the Forge Chanter. Now I do have a lot of non-creatures, so the triggers for the Forge Chanter is quite plentiful. I'm gonna cut the Rock Hunter here, and now I don't think I'm gonna play 14 lands. That would be a little bit too ambitious, I guess, in the end. I do want to mostly still have 3 lands in my opening hand, and I want my colors to work, which already will be a little bit difficult with the 15 lands, but the 2 Ebbling Wilds and the fixing I have do help a lot. So I think the Blast Runner... I mean, there's not really much else to... I mean, I guess the Goring Warblow and the Blast Runner are the choices here, but... Yeah, I guess I'm gonna actually cut the Blast Runner in the end. This leaves me with 10 red cards, 6 black cards, and the only white card is the Siege Veteran. I still want to have early red and early black available, but I have also some artifact 2-drops that help me dig to my mana. So this is 11 creatures, 14 non-creatures. But a bunch of those 14 will help me dig to my good stuff. So yeah, this is the deck minus the land. So I'm gonna put the Evolving Wilds here, and of course then 1 place. It will be this one, and then I will have, I guess, a mix of mountains and swamps. There's no really reason to prefer one over the other, even though I have more red spells than black spells. I still have these. I mean, the Warblow, which doesn't even show up in this meter here, so it is another early black drop, and I wanna play these cheap black spells early if I draw them. So there's no reason to play like a 7/5 mountains and swamps. I will play 6 and 6, and with the Evolving Wilds it's still kind of an 8+8. It's not exactly like that. But with the cantrips and mana fixing I have here, I think it's gonna be good enough. So let's just do it here, like this. 6 of these, and 6 of these. Oh, which exactly? These. Okay, so I could have a deck with a double Cinder with no Siege Veteran, but actually it would only change so that I wouldn't play the plains, and I would have like 1 extra mountain perhaps. So I think the Siege Veteran is still good, but it would of course be better if I had an emergency world to bring it back when it dies. But yeah, this is the main deck. Okay, so let's see how this 15-lander does. It's good enough with the flask. I can cast 1 of these. It draws me a card. It's fine because I do have the Ashnot also here. So when this thing attacks, I can sacrifice another creature to get a Power Stone. Well, I don't think I'm gonna use that, and it seems like it's gonna eat the Disfigurer anyway. Okay, so now I just want to... Well, I mean, that's gonna be my red mana already, so... Guess I'm gonna just play that instead of the flask, just to make sure I can actually continue curving out with the Strong Bull. I don't need this early. And I can still have the flask for my... Oh, that's a shame, I just lost one counter on this thing. But yeah, if I draw my white card, I can of course get the white mana with the flask. Okay, well, I don't think I'm really gonna attack into a trick there. I can try raising here. If they tap out on a creature, I can, you know, just use the excavation maybe. They chose not to do that. Okay, Wellspring is good with all of this stuff. I wonder if I want to just still play the Infiltrator, because if I... Of course, ideally I would play this Wellspring and draw an untapped land. Which I have 10 left in the deck. So 10 out of 29. Not a good chance to draw an untapped land, actually. So I'm going to play the Infiltrator. That's what I'm gonna do. But the only thing in that is that if they now remove their Strongbolt mid-combat, but I don't know if they have a removal spell on it. They could also respond to me playing the Wellspring. Because of course the idea is that the Strongbolt can sacrifice the Wellspring so that I can actually get, you know, the second card. But I have other ways to, you know, sacrifice things in this deck, including, you know, 2 other Strongbolts, 2 Power Stone Fractures at least. So I can make this go away quite easily. Ornithopter. Why would you play an Ornithopter? Well, I'm still gonna proceed with the race here. Okay, Recluse, which I can just get rid of. Well, I'm gonna do that exactly now. Mutt isn't a bad draw at all. They can put something to a bottom of owner's library. There's nothing they can, you know, do to host me. So maybe they can return a Disfigure to the deck, which they did. And now I can attack for 4, while they only have the 2/2 left there. And I'm still thinking that they're gonna have some kind of trick, because they did attack with the Sprite into my Strongbolt. And now they jump block with the Ornithopter. That only prevented 2 damage. Alright, so now... Okay, the land is really good, because now I can respond with the Overwhelming Remorse if they have something. So maybe I do that. They would have to have 2 things. Like a guy, first a pump spell and then a Gaia's Gift. Or 2 Gaia's Gifts or something like that. If they just are going to, you know, trade with the Infiltrator, I don't mind with that. Infiltrator is about to grow, but it's too risky to use the pump spell first. I can now just first play the Wellspring. There's nothing to sacrifice now, so sorry, nothing to discard, so I'm not going to use the Mutt unless I draw a land. That's gonna get me a Plains. I'm going to still get the Plains. So I'm just gonna do this. I don't need to play the Mutt now. This now threatens to be a quite large creature, of course. Five, 6 here with the current board. Of course not until I untap, but yeah, the combination with Strongbolts and all these cantrip artifacts, it's a pretty nice one. Okay, well, there is the white. There is the white. Okay. So maybe I'll just... I might actually just now use the Elsewhere Flask to cast the Siege Veteran, and then I can use the Mutt to get rid of the Evolving Wilds. It's possible. They have no place. Okay, well, I mean, it's pretty easy for me. Am I going to do that? I do have mana to do that, exactly. I won't have mana to use the Strongbolt after that. But I guess it doesn't really matter too much. And I might draw an untapped land, I guess. Okay, so now let's just use the flask. I mean, I could play the Cinder here because it's possible they have the life gainer 7 drop on the next turn. This would host it. I mean, it's not like they're gonna actually blow up the Evolving Wilds. Now, if they did that, that would be really horrible if my Elsewhere Flask, if that would somehow go away. I think I'm going to actually play the Cinder now, because they also might be holding some removal, like an Overwhelming Remorse of their own. I'd rather them use it on some of my other creature than the Siege Veteran. This is a Minotaur, not a soldier for this thing. So yeah, next turn I can sack the flask for, you know, make my lands plains and then cast the Veteran. But yeah, now they won't be gaining any life if they have that 7 drop, unless they kill it now. Okay, they did not. There is 7 mana, but no drops of any kind. Alright, well, this is rather easy then. Well, this is now a lot of damage. I mean, I don't have to play the Siege Veteran. I can just finish off the opponent with the explosion to the face. I'm actually going to do this thing. I'm gonna sack the Wellspring now. I don't think I'm going to sack the flask because I do want to keep it as an option. So this is now to cast the Siege Veteran later on, but let's see. This is now 5 plus 9. Or plus 4 is 9, so this is lethal with the explosion. I don't have to do anything else. So now they are forced to do something or they will lose. Yeah, I could sack these both and it's still lethal, but then it's bad if they have something like an Overwhelming Remorse. Let's just, I mean, I guess, well, I don't have to show them that I have an Excavation Explosion, although I have a lot of them. They have already shown one. But I mean, this is also just lethal if I sack the Mutt and the Power Stone token, so let's do that. Plus, I do still have mana to cast the explosion after I do all this. Okay. Now, they can't even gain life in response because of the Cinder Moths, even if there was some card that gained them life. So maybe they just had like pump spells in their hand. They played exactly 3 creatures, one of which is an Ornithopter. And then, well, it seems like they were flooded too. But what does this mean for my sideboarding? I don't think I care about any Gixis Carister, Whirling Strike, or any of these. I mean, this deck is so packed already. I have no reason to prefer any of these sideboard cards, so I don't think there's any reason to remove anything from the deck either. I'll just ship the same deck. Okay, that is just fantastic. I even have the red mana here. Sorry, the white mana if I draw the thing. Okay, they did mulligan to what, 5 now? Is that so? Well, this is an easy mode this first match, apparently. I mean, there wasn't any difficulties in the previous game, and if the opponent, if I saw right, I think I saw them, yeah, they kept 5. Alright, so, and there's the planes naturally. Sure. The desk can, you know, trigger the prowess, but I have a whole lot of non-creatures in here, so I'd rather just play the desk now that I get to use my mana efficiently. My turn 3 might be, you know, a 2 mana artifact and then a research desk sacrificing end of turn. It would be a shame if I reveal a Wormgall engine there. Well, I guess it doesn't happen now because let's just play the planes there and I'm gonna kill this guy. I'll have a couple of cantrips here, which are gonna make this into a 3-power creature. I'm gonna thin my deck here. I mean, maybe it's not a good idea because I could also use the research desk if I just... Okay, I'm not gonna thin my deck. I'm gonna use that mana for that though. Yeah, because now I can play an untapped land, and if I draw an untapped land, I'm not really that sad about it. Oh, I can actually do also that. So let's play the Wellspring here, and then I can play the Ashnod post-combat. No, that is a very good card to have when you have an Eco Wellspring around. But what's the opponent doing? I mean, they mulligan to 5, so yeah, they have to keep a weird hand, and they had a 3 mana spell, and then so far nothing. But I don't know, maybe they have like a too many pump spell. It seems like they have priority all the time, but if they have like a giant growth, it's obviously not gonna help them. Okay, there's a perennial behemoth, which I can just exile. It has unearth. Alright, well, I think I'd rather actually just use the remorse, sorry, the fracture, because that allows me to use the wellspring. You know what? Now I'm going to thin my deck before I draw a card. I don't need any more lands. So let's, I mean, if they unearth it, they don't even have a land in the graveyard to play, so I don't care about them unearthing it. And then I get to deal with it. Sacrifice the wellspring. There's a strong bull, which I can't now play because I already played my land. What I can do though, I can sack the research desk and I have still 2 mana left. I might have a card though. Well, no, actually I don't do that. I want to decline this. I want to see what they do, and that might affect that might affect what I want to pick with the research desk. Their play this turn. Anagard is not really a concern of any kind. So let's see. Well, I guess I know what I'm gonna pick here. Siege Veteran. Bolt. Alright, so this has to be played this turn. I actually could bolt this guy away. I have no creatures in here, so the Ashnod doesn't do much now. But I don't have to attack with Ashnod. Yeah, I think I'm going to just attack with the Forged Chanter here. I'm not gonna bolt that. I do have the mana for the Ward 2 thanks to the Power Stone here, but I can just play post-combat Strong Bull. But in the meanwhile, I will just make this into a 2/4 if they, you know, if they block it and use like a giant growth on their thing. Well, then I have a creature in my graveyard I can exile with Ashnod to get a 3/3 token. So no big deal. I do want to keep the Ashnod around. Now this of course has Death Touch, so and it would trade with the Anagard unless they have specifically a Gaia's Gift. The Ashnod is going to be more valuable on the battlefield than trading with something like an Anagard here. So now they are going to use one of their tricks, which it is. Is it going to be a giant growth? Okay, that happened. Then I have a strong bull in here. Yeah, the opponent will need something very, very good to get back to the game. This figure is good, but that's giving me another creature in the graveyard for the Ashnod too. Okay, they can do that. Attack for 2, I guess. I mean, I could block with the strong bull. If they have a, I can even make this into a 3/4. So, I mean, I guess if they have specifically the +2/+, no, I'm actually taking the damage here. I'm not gonna risk it. There's no point. But they could have the +2/+0 thing, you know, that actually would bring this back, even though it's gonna get exiled. Then they would have killed this for free and then still have this left. But hey, they had an Ornithopter instead, which is, of course, not really good. Okay, do I have mana 2? Yes, no, this is Ward 2. Just play. I would want to use the Mechanist here. But I guess I can do this and still use it. I do have a scrapwork mutt in my deck, so maybe I shouldn't play all the lands. Let's just attack with this thing. Maybe I should play the land because I have the 5 mana ability up here. Yeah, I mean, looking at what the opponent has, of course, there's not much. This does work, and yeah, the creature will be tapped, but it works as an instant speed activation, so no reason to use it right now. And yeah, all the opponent did mulligan the 5, but then again, they are playing like a Ornithopter, which is just... I have seen many players play this. Well, not like that often, but I have more than a few times I have actually seen people play Ornithopters, and it's just not a good limited card. It's an 0-2. It doesn't matter if it's a free spell. An 0-2, even with flying, isn't gonna work. I mean, in any beneficial manner. Here, I might just trade with the Anagard here. I mean, the 3-3 can be blocked by it. I actually think I'm gonna also attack with Ashnod. If they block Ashnod, I'll still get one 3-3 out of from the graveyard. Yeah, this is fine. That is the play to make here. I don't really want to waste the bolt on the 3-1. I'm not gonna sacrifice any creature, but now let's see what they do. I haven't actually done the math. Can I? Because of course the Strong Bull can deal a lot of damage now if it goes unblocked. I can sack these 3 artifacts, which means it's gonna be actually... Okay, it's gonna be lethal if they have nothing, but you know, they could have a they could have an overwhelming remorse, and sacking all these for nothing is kind of bad. So I think I don't even need to risk it. They have a pump spell, so now I have the full information. This is also an artifact. I just win now because this, you know, it's basically 2 damage per it's 2 damage per sacrifice when the Strong Bull also deals combat damage. So I can just do all this. That's now gonna be 5. That's 6, and then I can do the Refractor, and I still have the research desk also if I needed more damage, but of course it's no longer necessary. That's it. Strong Bull with all the artifacts can be a pretty, you know, a strong attacker. Because if you don't block it, you just lose. If you block it, you lose your blocker most likely. On the play, I still get these 2-landers with only 15 lands. This is of course a pretty easy keep. I can actually also, another thing the Chromatic Star is good for is to use as a food on the Power Stone Fracture, because this will still always draw your card as long as it goes to your graveyard, so you can sacrifice for it and draw the card. The opponent did mulligan. They are currently 6, well, they have mulligan to 6, but haven't decided on whether to go to 5 or what card to put away from the 6 card hand if they want to keep the 6. I'll pause. Alright, so they did keep 6. And I can just play this thing, and I'm going to just get the mountain. The flask can get me the one white mana if I need. The star is quite likely to be sacrificed to the Power Stone Fracture, so I can't count on that. Alright, so... Well, I'm gonna play the Flesh Mechanist and its star, although I could also just play the flask to maybe hit a 3rd mana. I guess this is just a 1-1, I don't even want to... Yeah, I'm gonna do this after all. I don't want to necessarily even trade this thing with their 2 drops. And now I can just continue curving out. There's an engineer which I don't want to disfigure just like that. I have to pass priority because of the Elsewhere Flask being and legal action, but I won't be shift entering because there's like a small chance this is gonna... I want to sacrifice this in response to something. I don't know if there is an actual reason to do that, but I don't want to gamble it. So do they attack? They don't attack, so at least they don't represent any kind of a trick. Of course, with me having this figure here, it's pretty safe for me to attack into that board. So there's no... I mean, I guess I'm gonna play the star regardless this turn. So I'm gonna play it pre-combat just to have more fodder for the strong bull if that is going to be relevant. And then I can attack here. So the thing is, I'm not going to... Okay, they have that, but this is not even... I mean, what the... Be my guest. I mean, are you gonna block? You're not gonna block. But why would they do that, you know, in middle of the combat? Giving me all the information. So I was saying that I don't necessarily want to draw the card with this thing yet, but because these are my two ways to get the white mana if I draw my white rare. But I could just draw into more cards if I for example just sacrifice the chromatic star now to draw a card. Because I will of course be disfiguring the Liberator, that's for sure. Well, I guess I'm not gonna sacrifice the flask then. That's fine. So I will use the red mana here, of course. Because I will need both of my black mana here to play the Ashnod and Disfigure. Okay, there's also... Well, I mean, my deck definitely has a lot of removal, so... It's not a surprise that I keep drawing them. Yeah, I can still, you know, use the flask on the Fracture now. The problem is, of course, that... well, no, I'm actually gonna use the Power Stone token for it. But I have only one white card in the deck. I don't want to, you know, play too much around the possibility that I might draw it. Yeah, I'll take 2 for sure. Gigamole. Is it gonna pick a creature? It could. If it's not gonna pick a creature, then it's just a 2/3. I mean, yeah, if it picks a creature, it will be a 2/3, and then I can, of course, Excavation explode it away. Make it explode, rather. Okay, they chose to have it as a 3/4, which means I might... Well... Might... offer the trade with Ashnod, actually. I mean, I don't have any creatures in my graveyard. I might want to do this first. I know I can also use the Fracture on this thing. I'm gonna offer the trade with Ashnod here. Do I want to give them the information about the research desk yet? I mean, I guess that is one way. I mean, I will be able to... Okay, fine. I'm gonna do it like this. And now I can attack with both, because if they now actually choose to block the Strong Bull, I can sack those artifacts. And I will. So... So I don't mind. I can still have the Unearth on the research desk even if I have to sack it now. But if I sack it to kill the Gigamole, I don't mind. This is just fine. They actually are choosing to do that. Well, I mean, be my guest. This means now I won't have white mana up if I draw my... a white card, but oh well. I have the Mutt in my deck, but I think because of the research desk Unearth, I will play the land now. I might also use the research desk Unearth to sacrifice on the Fracture, although it's more likely that I will find a target for the Excavation Explosion and then use that Power Stone for the Fracture. That's also, you know, thematically correct. They keep attacking with the Engineer. I think they want to block them Ashnod instead. And yep, this thing goes away. I want to attack with my... Oh, they have a trick. Is that a... Okay, that's gonna be the first strike trick for sure, because if that was Loran's Escape, they would have responded with that. So they most likely have the +1/+0 and first strike, which is actually not good enough. Now that I do have the Power Stone I can sacrifice on the Strong Bull, they don't have a good block here. And I can now just do this and unearth this and activate it and have a, even if it's a Whimsical engine, I can cast it on the next turn, so this is fine. I haven't seen the Whimsical engine yet. Let's see if I can let's see if I can actually draw it during this event. I think here the better one is the Icar Wellspring. It's good with the Fracture too and with the Strong Bull. Even if they kill the Strong Bull, I can use the Wellspring for the Fracture, so that's totally reasonable. But it's quite funny that I chose to not keep the Explosion. But then again, I would have needed to play the Explosion on the next turn. They just don't present a good target, and then what, I'm gonna burn their face or something. Oh, please don't... No, I don't have anything in my... Yeah, so they actually chose to keep the Harvester, which can mess up with my graveyard, but I suppose there's nothing in my graveyard I care about. If there's a creature, I'm gonna use 5 mana on it right away, as soon as possible. Okay, well that is the white mana, and I also will fetch that plains first, before drawing any cards. Okay, so let's do this now. And let's see, I still am fairly certain they are going to have the first strike trick, but it's fine, I can still attack here. And I can sacrifice stuff to this thing to not die to first strike damage. I don't think I'm gonna play the Mat unless I draw some useless cards. I do wanna get value out of the ability. The 2-1 isn't actually that great here right now. Yeah, there's nothing for the Ashnod, sadly. I guess if I draw like a very bad creature, I can discard it with the Scrapwork Mat and then get a 3-3 out of it. That's not a bad idea. Oh, Knowing Vermin, that will deal with the Mechanist. They shouldn't mill me. Oh, because, I mean, if I mill creatures, I just use Ashnod. Why would they mill me? And there is a creature that is even bad. Okay, opponent, that was a just straight up mistake. I have the 5 mana available. Oh boy, why would they do that? I mean, just in this format you always mill yourself. There's too much unearth and graveyard synergies, especially against the black deck that can have, you know, actual graveyard recursion. You should mill yourself. I mean, that is just a free 3-3. I didn't even have any use for this mana. Okay, there's a bolt which can exile the vermin. Huh. I really want to have the Ashnod around, so as funny as it sounds, I'm gonna exile this vermin because it has a death trigger. I don't want, and it will give -1/-1 to my Ashnod. That's not allowed to happen. And then am I finally going to let them, you know, get value out of their first strike trick, or do I make them keep mana up for it? Because I could attack with the 3-3, but maybe I don't attack with the 3-3. Just attack with the Strong Bull. Because it's a little bit too good to give them the 1 mana value. I'd rather make them keep up 1 place. There's no rush attacking with the 3-3. I mean, even if they don't use the trick, they would of course, you know, trade with the 3-3, and I'm not sure if I want to do that. But yeah, now this is threatening to be even like a, you know, 5-6 now. Okay, they go for the double block, which is fantastic for me, of course. So I'm gonna kill them both. And I don't even need to, you know, use anything now. I'll just let this happen. I don't need to sacrifice anything now. Trading with both of those is gonna be great. And if they use the first strike trick on this thing, well, then I sack 2 of my artifacts, the Wellspring and the Power Stone token. So, and they still lose all of the cards. So, let this happen. And if this happens, I have actually mana to use the Ashnod to get another 3-3 out of my graveyard. So this is just fantastic. I'm not worried about, you know, getting rid of the Wellspring because I do have the Power Stone Fracture in my hand. So I can sacrifice it on that. Now they have more mana available. They got the Power Stone and they maybe don't have to keep one white mana up anymore. Well, they have only a 1/1 against this board here, which will be 2 3/3s at least. So I wonder, they have to do something that, you know, deals with my stuff. But I've been actually waiting on for them to play a significantly large creature so that I can actually, you know, use the fracture on something. But no, they tried to remove my or exile my creature, but of course I can respond with Ashnode, so no big deal there. And I can take the 3 here. No big deal. Going to 14. Now they have only 3 mana left. They haven't played a land though, so they could have a 4-drop still, but it seems they don't have anything. And there's a Goring Warblow. So is it time to do what exactly? No, I'm not gonna offer the trade here. The Ashnode is so valuable when it can create me those 3/3s. So let's give them the decision to go to a 3 or jump block. And then I can do this. And I'm not still playing the Mutt because I wanna get value out of it. It's not really that needed necessarily either. Okay, that deals with one of my guys and they gain some life, but of course that's not enough. Yeah, so that's black and white deck that has Avenger here. This is some of the, yeah, they milled with the Gigamole. Powerstone Engineer, Riposte, good to know. They have that trick Liberator, but of course the amount of removal I have in my deck, it means that even though this is a good bomb, kind of a bomb creature, I would say I have many ways to get rid of it before it gets out of hand. So they have the kind of cards that I'm not even sure if I'm again wanting to sideboard anything. I don't think I need any of this stuff, so it's just too good of a deck without anything else. I guess Sibling Rivalry against decks that have good artifact creatures or artifacts, because I have many ways to sack them, could be an interesting sideboard option, but I didn't see anything like that from them. That mountain was an actually good draw, I'm not gonna lie here. I would want to use the flask on the fracture, but that's probably not gonna happen because I will play the Siege Veteran as soon as I can. Okay then. I think this time I will offer the trade. It's an artificer that doesn't get the token from this thing. I will offer the trade. If they block, it's fine for me. And then I think it's just gonna be the flask here. Because I don't want to start taking a lot of damage there. And this Ashnode is better later in the game, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna, or when I'm gonna get to 5 mana. Chaplain. So now I might just well, let's see if this is a 2/2. It's not. It's a 1/1. So I'm not going to use the explosion on that. And alright. Well, the explosions give me food for the Power Stone Fracture because I'm going to use this now. That's my 1 white card. I don't even have means to get creatures back from the graveyard, so I shouldn't need white mana for anything. Against blue decks they could of course bounce this thing, and it would be awkward if I don't have any more white mana to recast it. Okay, and that will just eat a explosion. So first of all, they didn't have removal on this thing. It's pretty amazing, because now I'm going to move in the race here. They do need to find removal. Now they of course can have, for example, No, they actually milled one of the overwhelming remorses. Well, let's see if they have more of that. Gigamole, milling creature, and couple of lands. So they could pick the Killzone Acrobat if they want to, which they did. And then I can just I could double spell. I suppose I don't need the mountain for anything. I also think I'm going to give the Forge Chanter a counter this turn, even though that means I deal 1 mana less. Deal 1 damage less. Let's start with this thing though. This might somehow change what I'm doing, but I'm gonna discard the mountain here. And that's good. And here I'm gonna play this thing, and I think I'm gonna give the Forge Chanter a counter and then attack for 4, and of course if they play like the Acrobat, yeah, I can kill the Gigamole with the Excavation Explosion, and then this Mutt will trade with the 3-2 or the 1-2, so I don't have to worry about that. If they play one big creature, I of course have the Fracture. Okay, they get a bunch of Power Stones, well only 2 because this counts other creatures, not itself, so it wasn't that amazing. 5 mana 3-2. Okay, I drew the planes here also. So, I believe the correct play here is... But they might have the first strike trick. Against that, the correct play is to deal with the Prospector, actually. Well, I'm gonna play this first. They don't seem to have a priority there, so I believe I'm gonna just go for this play, because they have only 4 power left and they can't kill either of these. If I'm gonna give the counter to itself here. What do I want to give them? No, I'm going to... I don't think it actually matters that much, but I'm gonna do this. Okay, yeah. I chose to do that anyway. Now I can attack with the Mutt as well. They have 3 power total, so this is... They can only trade with the Mutt, and I wouldn't mind if they trade with that. So... And of course the Gixan Infiltrator is pretty good with the Power Stone Fracture, and I have even the Spring to sack. Yeah, I think this deck is, by the way, pretty good. A pretty good deck. Maybe the opponents haven't had the best decks. I mean, one of the first opponent had an Ornithopter in their deck, but still, just looking at how my games have gone, it's just pretty amazing stuff here. Alright, so now, I just, do all this stuff now. Kill the Acrobat, sacrifice this Infiltrator, pick up a counter. I get to draw a card, trigger Prowess, have more explosions. Yeah, this is just nuts. And the opponent is... They have seen enough, understandably. Because as you can see what was in my hand, I wasn't even done if they were in a position that, I wouldn't have won in a couple of attacks regardless. Okay, the starting hands for this deck, they have all been quite good, but I guess I have these early cantrips and all that, so I suppose most of the starting hands will be good. There are only 15 lands, so it's unlikely to get too flooded or anything. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go with the Wellspring now, because this, I wanna still... At least I can't draw the Wormhole Engine for that thing, but I don't necessarily need this quite yet. Okay, so you don't usually see that very often, the Firebomb, but at 7 mana they can destroy a permanent. It's also not a non-land permanent, so it's something you can actually use to destroy lands, which, could be a thing. Alright, so what to do here? I think I wanna dig now into lands, so unless it's something like insane I'm gonna get with this thing, I'm just wanna drop a land. and then just play the Forge Chanter. That's my idea here. If it is a Siege Veteran, yeah, then different story. Alright, Ashnod. Well, now that I did my... I mean, the reason I played my... I tapped my Swamp was that I wanted to have the red mana up for the Forge Chanter. Now I can play these things on the next turn. So I suppose next turn I will just play the Strong Bull. Because I'm not sure the Flesh Mechanist is gonna do anything anytime soon. So let's do the Strong Bull thing. I can still of course play my land from my hand and have the Forge Chanter. Now I'm kind of I'm locked into playing the Strong Bull on the next turn. I'm not going to let it go. Regardless of what I'm drawing here. Okay, they have an LE. Okay, that's good that I draw a land there. I can do this, and then I can also sacrifice the Wellspring, but I'm gonna sack it for the Fracture perhaps. I'm just playing the star now. I lose a Prowess Trigger because I can't use it in any way, but so what. I'll take 4 damage from this guy, and I'm gonna just kill it by sacking the Wellspring. Frontliner, okay. Lands are good because of the Whimsical Engine for sure. Alright, so I do want to get the Prowess Triggers pre-combat, so let's start with... well, I have a mountain in my hand, so I can use a mountain for this spell. Let's do this and this. Could be a protection spell. That is exactly what it is. I still get to draw my card at least from the Wellspring. And land isn't bad. Land is not bad. But now the question is, am I going to take another set of damage from there? I suppose... Well, I can make this into a 3-4. So they can't really attack with anything else than the Elite. So I'm gonna attack with the Forge Chanter, not with the Strong Bull, because they can attack for a lot of damage then, and of course I don't want that to happen. I actually have drawn a lot of lands there, but it's no big deal, because I do have a reason to have a land in my hand. Okay, so let's go with this 3 damage at least. They are nowhere close to 7 mana, so I don't have to care about the Firebomb. And even if they pacify the Whimsical Engine, I can sack it with the Strong Bull to get still the other things. Okay, they actually want to have a Power Stone token for themselves, which is acceptable. Tactician, oh, they have also had another color there. Well, they still can attack with only the one guy, and now I will not block, but I will play a Whimsical Engine, and hopefully they don't have an answer for it. I could attack for 2 with the Strong Bull, because they're not going to block with a Tactician. And they could double block. I could make this only into a 4-5, so if they double block it, yeah, then this will die and the Tactician will die. And then I have only 4 mana left, which would allow me to still play the Strong Bull. But they would have the frontliner alive. Is it worth it? I don't think it's worth it. I'll just do this and just hope everything goes well. I don't sadly have a way to... I don't have the extra mana to sacrifice the engine right now. So if they do have this pacify, which comes with the Scry 2, I can't prevent the Scry 2 from happening. Okay, so it seems like they have nothing, because Whimsical Engine is not the fairest card. Now they can, you know, use 2 of their cards to kill it, the Elite and the Frontliner actually, but I get still the, you know, the stuff from it, the 3/3s, which is plenty enough for me. I could do the research desk right now to maybe have like an Overwhelming Remorse, which would be a 5 mana spell, so I wouldn't have actually mana to cast it. Anything else that has instant speed? No, I'm actually fine if they use the Elite and the Frontliner to deal with the Whimsical Engine. Now they might have some tricks, but then they have tricks. Okay, they just take 6 and I gain 6. Well, that is, you know, better than any other outcome. Alright, so I should do this now. Well, the bolt seems quite good here. The infiltrator wouldn't be bad with the strong bull and all this, but let's now see. They have now mana up, so maybe the bolt isn't the best on this turn. I'll just play the other strong bull because this is castable on the next turn as well. Let's play the strong bull here. And I haven't drawn a card with the chromatic star because I kind of want to use the chromatic star on a strong bull trigger. Okay, that's just a paratrooper. Okay, so I'm not too concerned. I just gained 6 life here. So they can now pump, of course, their team. Cavalry, okay, so they can try to raise me, but you know, raising Wimgall engine isn't just, it's a thing that doesn't happen now. That means they don't die to the, they don't lose the anything too important on the bolt. Actually, I might want to find another removal spell because this and this all have 5 toughness now. I guess the paratrooper getting rid of that isn't the worst. Okay, well this is not a good attack. I mean, they lose the elite because I can triple block it, and the 5 damage only is good enough to deal with any one of my 3 toughness creatures. They shouldn't attack with the elite. That's a mistake. I mean, I don't care if they attack, if they trade the 1 elite with the 1 strong bull or the forge chanter. Okay, so let's see now how to do this. Mutt. That's a. I can start with the mutt. I'm actually going to start with the chromatic star first. I'm sacking it for some boost. I want to attack with the strong bull too. Okay, so now I'm gonna play the mutt. I still have a lot of lands to play the bolt and also to, you know, use the strong bull here. Okay, that's not a bad one. So I can make the strong bull into a 5 power creature, which is enough to trade with something there. So I'm happy with that. I can sack the mutt and the refractor, that's what I'm talking about. Then I can bolt. Probably the paratrooper has to be bolted. But oh well. I can't attack with the second bolt really, because I have no plan to sacrifice my Wormhole engine. I don't want to play this pre-combat, and I don't have enough mana. So yeah, this is it. So let's attack with these guys. Yeah, I can feel the frustration from the opponent when they have to deal with the Wormhole engine, because this board they have. This is amazing. If I didn't have the 6 lifelinker here, I would have no chance. Yeah, I'm gonna trade with the 5/5. The frontliner isn't such a big deal. So I'm gonna use this mana to sacrifice the refractor, which I don't have any use for, and then this here to sacrifice the mutt. And I will lose the strong. I knew I'm gonna lose it, so that's not a surprise there. It would have been very weird if they just block with a 5/5 there. So let's get rid of the paratrooper. I could exile this frontliner, but I don't care about that being in the graveyard because I'm at 25 now. 21 now. And yeah, I have a mutt in my graveyard, so I should keep the swamp in my hand. My graveyard has 1 land. That's 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. So I have only, well, I have 6 lands and 11 spells, so actually a pretty normal mix of lands and spells. Now they have actually the mana up for the fire bomb now. But they don't want to do it on my turn, because then I can attack with a Death Touch 3/3, which they don't necessarily want to face here. But then again, if they let me untap, then I can respond with my Strong Bull, and of course they are at 5, which means Strong Bull is 5 artifacts away from just dealing the 5 damage. So I can just yeah, I think it's a mistake to use that now, because now I haven't these 3/3s I can attack with. Get disfigured. That means it's gonna be just lethal. I'm gonna actually do this first, because why not? But I can remove the 1 blocker, and of course I have a lot of... I mean, I already have a lethal attack here, so why would I show them the disfigure? They block the... yeah, this is lethal. They don't have a lifelink there. They block the 3/3s. Oh, the Strong Bull and a 3/3. They take 5 here. No need to show them anything. So that's it. Casual 20 life after they beat me for so many turns, but that's what the Wormcoil engine does. Well, at least I drew it in this event. Of course, I still might draw it again, but the point is, I pretty much won the game because of the Wormcoil engine, and the opponent would have won the game otherwise. Now, do I want to have a Rock Hunter instead of something like a Dwarven, a Forge Chanter, because they do have a bunch of flyers? Problem is that their flyers, I mean, it's not good against the cavalry. Oh, it's not good against the frontliner, which is just gonna be able to easily trade with it. It's not good against the Power Stone Engineer. It's just not a good card against, well, usually any white tech. Do I care about the wings? No. Again, I just don't really see Sibling Rivalry can take. No. If I steal a non-artifact creature, I can only sacrifice it with the Power Stone Fractures and nothing else. So I really need to be able to use the Strong Bulls to make the Rivalry a playable card here. So how about the Moment of Defiance? I just don't have room for any combat tricks. I have no removal and creatures and cantrips, and I'm very low on creatures already, so I don't really think I'm gonna make any changes. Gix's Caress. No, this is fine. Maybe I will change if it goes to game 3. Okay, so all my starting hands have been pretty decent. This is a 4-lander with a 15 card deck, for instance. Okay, the opponent has a fast start, but so do I. I have the Mutt here for turn 2, and then I can make something go boom. This will trade with their 2-drops, including that thing. Yep. And I don't want them to eat it, but I guess it's not a big deal. I mean, they can't even do that. If we trade now, I can then use the Unearth right away if I so choose. But they have other plans. Okay, so I think I'll just play a Woblo here as a 1/1 Death Toucher. Yeah, that's fine. And I can use the research desk end of turn, although then... Well, let's see. They might have a Loran's Escape there, of course, but I mean, then I trade my Woblo with that thing. It's fine. Engineer. So I'm going to use this, and I understand that a harvester can get rid of the thing in my graveyard, but I might use the disfigure on their harvester at the beginning of their combat so they can't even unearth it on the same turn. Because of course I have to play this card whichever it is. Well, it's a land, so that makes it really easy. I'm gonna take the Evolving Wild so I can get my planes. And now of course I will just well, I have two options. I can actually just play the Forge Chanter here and then use this figure on the harvester. Use this figure on the harvester in their beginning. I mean, if they have like another Lorance Escape, then they do. But I do like actually this play more. I don't want them to get the research desk for free, but it's only, I mean, they have to save the harvester now with something for that to happen. Okay, that worked, so no unearthing so that it matters this turn. It has to attack for the exile to happen, and now next turn I can use the research desk. I also have a double block on the elite. Oh, they had no attacks there. That is very good for me. They animated that thing. That can be fractured. I can even use the fracture actually on them. Well, I suppose it's the same thing, fracture the elite there. But let's take the planes now. And then... oh, there's a Wormcoil engine. Alright, so I need one more mana for it, but of course I do have the explosion. Sadly, the explosion doesn't deal with any of their things right now. But... well, I wanna deal with this stuff. They will have an attack on the next turn regardless. That's just how it is gonna go. Yeah, if I don't kill these things, I take a lot of damage. If I just use this to get a card. I think I'm gonna use it for the fracture instead. It seems to be the play. And this thing has the pump effect, so maybe I'd still want to deal with the frontliner instead. Even though it gives them an unearthed creature. But if this attacks, it pumps the Powerstone Engineer, and well, I guess I'll just block it with the Mutt then. Ah, sure. That's what I'm gonna do then. Cavalry. Okay, well that's a 5/5 then. Oh, again I need my... Wormcoil engine here. I guess if I... they don't, by the way, have the black mana yet for that thing. Yeah, that does require black to unearth. I didn't even pay attention to that. But now they have one card in their hand. Do they have the answer for this thing? Because of course, if they don't, I just win again. They need to have an answer in like 2 or 3 turns. Okay, that's a land. Flask. Well, let's Flask first, I guess. They seem to be holding some kind of a trick there. I am going to go for this play. If they block with the frontliner, I'm gonna burn one of my explosions here to try to finish it off. They might have another Lorance Escape or something. And yes, I do understand I'm losing 2 cards to their 1, but that's a that's a good use for the explosions right now. They might take it, and then I'm gonna take what 9 damage back, but I'm gonna go to 17 here, unless they have something for the Wormcoil engine, of course. Well, it's exactly one card they have in their hand. How good can it be? So let's see what they have. Oh, they get to save it. Ah, that's nasty. But they have exactly enough mana. Ooh. Well, I mean, I said they need an answer for the Wormcoil engine. Now they are going to be dealing a lot of damage with this set. That is 5, that's 9 plus, that's 10, that's 13. That is 13 damage. Wow. If they use the 5 mana for the pump. And then I go to 4, and then I go to 10, and then, well, I can make the paratrooper go away. And then I think it might not be enough. I mean, I might lose still. Yeah, they use that. Do they have a 2 mana spell? The paratrooper was really nasty there. And if they have a 2 mana spell, I think it's also very nasty. Well, they did not. Mutt is going to get rid of that. Yeah, I think I'm actually just about... Oh. No problem. Everything is fine. My removal... But even if I just kill the paratrooper, I'm actually taking here only 8 plus 1. 9 damage. I'm gonna go to 10, so I wouldn't have died. Unless they draw like the swamp. Or some other way to create black mana. But yeah, let's of course do this thing. And then I can sacrifice the... Which is more dangerous, the cavalry or the ground guy? This is a 5-5. This is just a 3-4. If I kill this thing, they still have one use for unearth. But it's not really... I'm gonna get rid of this guy. Like that. And now they are of course facing lethal from the Wormcoil engine, so they need an answer for it right away. Well, I guess... Okay. Should I just kill it? I believe I should just go for the win now. What a deck, what a deck. Just insane. I can feel the opponent's frustration. Both games I won with because of the Wormcoil engine, but... Well, that happened. I am not the one to blame. It's the best card in the format. Alright, so this is probably, maybe if not the, at least one of the absolute strongest decks I have drafted in this format. And there was no problem running 15 lands even with 3 colors. The double Evolving Wilds was just perfect with the planes in addition to all these fixers. So and this is still like a 8+8 Swamps and Mountains when considering like the starting hand odds, sort of. So I mean, this deck just, I had to still not play stuff like Blast Runner, which would have been good in this deck. And I think in this deck the Sibling Rivalry could be also good, but maybe not so much when you have only 2 ways to sacrifice non-artifacts. Yeah, I mean, I guess the deck just is pretty crazy good. If the Forge Chanter was something like another Mutt, for instance, that would be perfect. Or maybe just another Infiltrator, because I had so many sacrifice ways. I could grow these Infiltrators into very, very big stats, so if the Forge Chanter was an Infiltrator and well, I guess that's it. Then I'm happy about everything in this deck, so pretty insane. I guess the Goring Warblow could have been something else, but I mean, what does that matter? This is a deck with bombs with a ton of removal. Let's count the amount of removal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 removal spells, all of which are actually quite high quality. Even the Fractures have so many, easy things to sacrifice for the cost that it's not really a big drawback. This was just insane. So yeah, this going to 3 match wins isn't exactly a surprise. But of course, you can always have some bad draws. An opponent can have even better decks and all that, so it's possible. But I am at least happy I got with this deck, because if some deck should get 3 wins, it's this one. Alright, so that was it for this event. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.